Kia ora. Today I will be presenting my teaching portfolio. My portfolio can be electronically accessed and altered to serve any reporting needs that I may require. In this report I will use portfolio examples to explore and critique the progress used in looking at the learning outcomes for this course. My report will also focus on one particular example of teaching that took place at Waitakere College in order to demonstrate my portfolio's functionality. I co-taught this class with 2 other English teachers and 2 math teachers. During our unit planning session, we took into consideration the time we had with the students, what curriculum level they were at, and what we as teachers believed we could accomplish successfully into the 2 subject areas. The theme of our unit was journey, and because the summer program was called Waka, we adapted our theme to encompass a Waka journey. As students moved through and completed each lesson, their Waka knowledge and experience would continue to grow and expand as well. The concept of constructing and building led me to look at the pedagogy theory of constructivism and constructionism. Because this is a broad pedagogy area, I chose to look more closely at social influences on cognitive development within constructivism. And this was theorized by a philosopher by the name of Vygotsky. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take you firstly to my homepage. The homepage of my portfolio gives an example of pretty much where I want to be, which is in the learning environment of Te Whaka Area School. I haven't started yet, so tonight's example will be based on what I have done at Waitakere College. If you have a look up at the top, you can see that I have tabs which align with the rubrics, the MTAL rubrics. Going down, I will also be encompassing the structures of Te Whaka Area School, where I believe a lot of my learning outcomes will be focused. Moving further on down the home page, I have started with my learning outcome number 1. Now, in the learning outcome number 1, much like the tabs up the top, you can see that it starts with pedagogy to teaching practice, tangata whenuatanga, relationships, and principles. So this is learning outcome number 1. What I have done is, because this is in a cycle, is that if I want to expand on this or do a similar sort of learning outcome experience, and it's still related, but I'm looking for a different result, then I would go to the next one and call it learning outcome 1.1, so I can see that they are related. If I, however, want to go completely in a different direction and perhaps look at a different pedagogy, a different environment, different outcomes, expected outcomes, I would then go to learning outcome number 2. So you can see where the cycle in that can be all connected. Now, in all of these little bits here, the underlying bits are actually linked. So if I was to go on to pedagogy, much like I can still go from the top and push constructionism, it takes me to the next page. And just to give me a brief about what it is that I'm doing, or anyone who's actually reading my site, constructivism, anyways, there is like the brief sort of lens that I would like to look through, the theory by Vygotsky. Also connected are the lesson plans and the references down the bottom. So you can actually click on any of those and it will take you to an archive page where I have listed, there's an example, Pedagogy Archives, where I have listed other examples. Oops, sorry, that one hasn't been done. There's an example of an archive where I have multiple examples. So moving on from pedagogy, I am going through to my teaching practice, which is evidence-based best teaching practice. And on this bit here, again, another summary with the reference attached, and it has direct links to the lesson plan, which is the evidence that I intended to use when coming up with the lesson for student engagement. So if you press on to this link, it actually goes to a separate page down the bottom, which then you can open, and there we go. We have an example of the lesson plan that I used that day. Okay, just clicking out of that, going across to Tangata Whenua-tanga. And we have here, and I have taken this reference from Te Kotahitanga paper that has kind of, it keeps me focused. There's again the reference down the bottom, and that's a lot to do with the social and cultural context, teaching and learning. And this bit here, I have done the reflection part of this learning outcome, and in this reflection I actually did the slideshow which I used in the previous assessment. So there is the slideshow and then the commentary to the slideshow. This is available through the website, so I can use for other functions, and if I just click onto here, it takes me directly to the slideshow. Now, it was in this bit here that I actually started looking at construction and structures, and I was looking at emotional engagement and how students can use structures that they use in class when they're learning to adapt and use out of class for social skills. This is something I'd like to explore later, so there's a good chance that my next one will be Learning Outcomes 1.1. So it's come from constructivism, and looking still at structures in that, and still using the same Vygotsky reference, but more looking at his philosophies and theories on the proxy zone of development. So moving on now, we can go over to relationships, and that's an observation archive. Again, like the lesson plan, there's a list of observations made on me and then observations made by me. Now, this is in professional relationships and behaviours and how they can support in my outcomes for learning engagement. And in this one in particular, we're looking at the people who are professionals, teachers, and other cohort members who were very influential and opinions that I respect. And then it goes on to an actual documented observation made by one of my fellow teachers. So I use that, something that I can reflect on later. Okay, going down, and then we're going over to last but not least, we're going to be looking at the principles. And the principles are something that I look at for documented sort of material that's used by the Ministry of Education. And in this one in particular, we're looking at learning outcomes. Again, it's indicating that this is focused on the very first learning outcome that I indicated on the homepage, and we're looking at culturally exploring responsive pedagogies. This isn't science, but it can also be adapted, so it's using stories that's approved by the Ministry of Education. Both the page, the picture, and the title will link straight to it. And just as an example, there we go. And yes, so that's for further reading, and so I can take those principles further. Great, thank you very much. Bye.